It is only when you mature to the degree that you are prepared to remove Lot that you can listen to what God is saying, because Lot is a symbol of your attachment to where you were. For the purpose of this class, Lot may not at all be a person. For the purpose of a leadership class, Lot may be an antiquated model that you brought with you into a contemporary situation, because Lot is comfortable, because Lot is familiar. Family. Lot is Linus's blanket. Do you remember Linus's blanket? He took it everywhere he went because it was familiar. It made him feel comfortable. What are you dragging into your destiny that is a symbol of your history? And what can God not say to you in the presence of Lot? We're in a real tough situation because we have raised up a generation today who has no affinity to our Lots. Religious leaders are having a real tough time evangelizing the world today because we have a world that has no appreciation for your religiosity. So the only person Lot makes feel good is you. This generation doesn't care that you can hoop. They don't care that you are articulate of speech and that you can roll your words like somebody out of the 60s. This generation speaks in 142 characters. Have we become good at something that the world doesn't care about? And if that is in any way the case, you have to decide, do you love what's next more than you love Lot? Or maybe you should stay in the village. The village represents all the people that I tell you what, if you get your cell phone out, I'll show you your village. That's the easiest way. Let me just go that way. Your village is in your cell phone. The people who get you, the people you talk to, the people you talk to them, the people who reinforce your ideologies, the people you complain to when you see something that gets on your nerves, who feel like you feel and think like you think and have the same worldview as you do, that's your village. That's your tent. That's your lot. When my mother taught me to drive, she taught me on a parking lot because it was safe to teach me to drive on a parking lot. There was no traffic on a parking lot. There were no issues on a parking lot. There were no police officers on a parking lot. There were no pedestrians on the parking lot. It was just a nice place to drive around and around and around in circles. It was a controlled environment. It was cool. I could drive in it, but it was a parking lot. Is your ministry a highway or is it a parking lot? When Lot disappeared, God reappeared. How hard was it for Abram to give up Lot when Lot was family, when Lot was familiar? What is it difficult for you to give up to hear God speak again? I don't mean this stuff we do, this I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about this rattling, this murmuring, this foolishness. I'm talking about this life-altering word that comes once or twice or three times in your life, that it changes the direction for the next 10 or 20 years of your life. I'm not talking about this God wants you to wear a blue dress or a white dress. I'm not talking about this crazy stuff we hear today. I'm talking about the life-altering word that moves you into your purpose and into your destiny, without which you can do absolutely nothing. Is there anybody in here that wants to hear God speak a fresh word in your life? Holla at your boy. Well, you might have to get off the parking lot and get in the highway with the controversy and the chaos and the confusion and the honking horns and the road rage and I need some gas and I got to stop and go to the bathroom and all of those things that come out. You may have to move off the parking lot where everybody thinks the way you think, everybody reinforces your idea. You may have to get in the highway where there's opposition and restriction and turmoil to finish your destiny. But I guarantee you, you wouldn't be here if God didn't have more for you than what you had on your parking lot. Tell somebody, move. You see, when Lot was removed, God spoke. When all that makes you feel comfortable is removed, God speaks. When you are pushed out of your comfort zone and you don't know how to do that and you don't have any background in that and you didn't get a degree in that and you didn't go to school for that and you don't know how to do that, and that isn't how they did it at your old church and that's not how they did it where you came from. You can't do that in Charlotte. We just don't do that in Charlotte. Charlotte is just not that kind of city. You can't do that in Columbus. You can't do that in Columbus. It's not that. You can't do that. Shut up! All those parking lot voices that are trying to make you stay in the village are stopping you from being the leader that you could be, that you would be, that you ought to be. I'm trying to tell you it's time to break a rule. I'm trying to get you out of order, out of line, out of fitting in, out of the clique, out of the club, out of the status quo, out of the normal. I guess you are controversial. You ain't moving. Get out there where they'll say something about you. They don't say nothing about you because they haven't noticed you. They don't know you're breathing. But you cannot leave the lot if you're afraid of the traffic. Can I work with this a little bit? You see, our problem even in our church is that we have people who build these little kingdoms. Even in our local church, they build these little kingdoms. I've been the president of the Frying Fish Committee since the Vietnam War. And they have these little bitty empires. It may not be but 5 people, but they're little empires, and they're these little bitty gods over these little bitty groups of people. And you can always tell them, because when you're preaching or teaching, they can't say amen till they look over at so and so. And if so and so doesn't get up, they don't. Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Let me try to talk to you. They have these little cliques, and while you're trying to preach or trying to teach, they're rolling the eyes of Tex and Betty to see what Betty says about it. They don't have the courage to have their own mind. They don't have their courage to think their own thought. They are controlled by these little Hitlers. These little Adolf Hitlers that you put in positions before you knew what you were doing, and you don't have the courage to remove them, and now they have control towers. And you spend all of your energy breaking up fights in your church, and you think that's leadership. That's not leadership. That's babysitting. It's going to get rough. 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 And so what they do, these little emperors give out prophecies in the bathroom of the church, meet people in the parking lot and tell them, there, that's what he said, but let me tell you what the Lord spoke to me. Touch your neighbor and say, when Lot leaves, God will speak. When Lot leaves, God will speak. When Lot leaves, God will speak. Get rid of Lot. I know Lot baked you the first pound cake when you started the church. I know Lot brought you the first blanket when your baby was cold. I know Lot is familiar. I know Lot is family. I know Lot looks like something that makes you think of home. But Lot has set up a control tower in your leadership that is counterproductive to moving the thing forward. And you have to be man enough or woman enough to let Lot. Because when Lot leaves, God will speak. When Lot leaves, God will speak. When Lot leaves, that's a prophetic word to somebody. I can't hardly get off it. When Lot leaves, God will speak. When Lot leaves, God will see. You've been running around. Can you imagine? Abraham hadn't heard from God for years at this point. And he said, wonder why I haven't heard from God. I've been waiting on a word from God. When is God going to speak again? When is the glory going to fall like it used to fall? When is God? The problem is not with God, Abram. It's with Lot. And if you don't believe that the people you have with you affects your leadership, ask Joshua about Achan. What you won't kill will kill you. Ooh, I'm preaching. God then appears and gives Abram the greatest leadership class I have ever heard. He says, first of all, look. Vision. Vision. Look out. Vision out. Is most of your energy spent looking in? Looking in or looking out? They're the reason that as Moses got older, he went higher. He stopped walking with the people. He stopped walking in front of the people. He ended up walking above the people. He climbs up on the mountaintop and he finds out I'm far more effective as a leader when I'm looking out than I am when I'm looking around. Look out from where you are. So we just got rid of where you were. Now God says, look out from where you are. So a third of you just died with where you were. And now God says, look out from where you are. Look out from where you are. Look out from where you are. Deals with global vision. You don't need a vision you can afford. You don't need a vision you can pay for. You don't need a vision that you can see your way clear and it's within your skill set and everything is fine and you can see yourself doing. You need a ridiculous. If you want God to go with you, God tells one prophet, he says, okay, I'll send the rain, but your little valley is not deep enough for what I want to give you. Dig ditches in the valley. He said, God said, make it more impossible. Make it so impossible that when I do it, everybody will know that it was me that did it. I don't want you to have a vision that you can pay for because then they'll say it's you. I want you to have a vision that's so far beyond you that they will know that if it had not been for the Lord that was on your side, you would have been swallowed up. You're asking God to send you gifted and talented people. Why? For a museum? You need a vision that draws gifted and talented people where they can envision themselves serving your vision. You need a vision that demands resources. I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about smart. I'm talking about tenacious. I'm talking about gifted people can see themselves following you because your vision is large enough to make room. Nudge your neighbor and say, make room. For the people that's coming, for the talent that's coming, for the money that's coming, for the favor that's coming, for the opportunities that's coming. Your tent will not demand the following because there is no room in your little tent for who God would send to help you if your vision were beyond you. You need a vision that's beyond you. David says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my pathway. In David's day, they had ankle lamps. They used them at night. And an ankle lamp would light up the ground right in front of you. And you can read the word and it will illuminate what is right in front of you. But in order to get a vision of what is way down the road, you need to get a vision from God that is so far beyond you that God demands you to look out from where you are. Everything you are praying about is about where you are. Everything you are worried about is about where you are. Everything that keeps you up at night is about where you are. God is not concerned about where you are. God is concerned about where you're going. God didn't come into your life to sit in a parked car with you while you discuss the climate where you are. The reason God is not answering you about where you are is because God is trying to point you to where you are going. Can I go deeper? God says, look out from where you are. I want you to get a vision beyond you, a vision beyond your resources, a vision beyond your skill set, a vision beyond your talent, a vision that demands discipleship, a vision that draws together a board that you couldn't put together by yourself, a vision that develops a team in order to accomplish. Happy for all you've done by yourself. Wonderful. That's great. But for what God is about to do, you're going to need a team committed to excellence, ready to put their shoulders to the plow, ready to work in your behalf. Happy for what you were able to do on your own. But for where God is about to take you now, you need to amass and assemble a team of people who are gifted in places that you are not gifted. If you are comfortable enough to allow gifted people to walk beside you without your ego. Oh, it's going to get tough. It's going to get tough in here. Look out from where you are. Which way do you want me to look, Lord? Which way are you going to give me? Which direction do you want me to go? Shut up, Abram. I'm trying to give you all of it. The north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. See, people will try to lock you down to one thing. Oh, you're a Baptist church. Oh, you're a Pentecostal church. Oh, you're a word church. Oh, you're a shouting church. No, we're the north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. I can't hear you. What? 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 Say it again. What? What? Say it again. Say it. What? Yeah. What you gonna take? What? What? What you gonna do in your city? What? 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 You can't hold me. You can't block me. You can't bind me. What? What? Give him a praise. Your ministry needs to show up everywhere. Your ministry doesn't just need to go to church. They that are not sick don't need a physician. Your ministry needs to go to jail. It needs to go to the nursing home. It needs to go into the shelters. It needs to go into all the world. Your church needs to be worldly. Well, Bishop Jackson just told the church to be worldly. Yes, I did. I just told you your church needs to be worldly. You look like church folks. You dress like church folks. You talk like church folks. And you wonder why the world isn't coming? They think you're weird. They think you're strange on the beach with your skirt and your tennis shoes on. It's August. They don't think you're holy. They think you're crazy. You need to be in media. You need to be in business. You need to be in leadership. You need to be in politics. You need to be in government. You need to be in the north, the south, the east, and the west. You need to be in the school systems. Come on, talk to me, somebody. You need to be in all the world. Your ministry needs to go into all the world. You're trying to figure out which direction. God is saying all directions. The north, the south, the east, and the west. The north, the south, the east, and the west. Said what? Yes. Say it again. Now, what we are talking about, sit down, I'm just talking, I'm not trying to preach. What we're talking about is 360-degree thinking. A mind that thinks 360, not 180, not 90, 360. Well, I'm here, I'm not a pastor, I'm an auxiliary leader, I'm still talking to you. If you're an auxiliary leader and all you think about is your auxiliary and you don't understand how your auxiliary fits into the topography of the total vision of the house, If you're making decisions and you don't understand what other auxiliary leaders need to know that decision, who needs to get an email, who needs to get a directive, if you're making isolated decisions without a 360 approach to leadership, your church is spending more money over mistakes, bad communication, memos they didn't get, emails they didn't get, because you are working in a vacuum. You're working in a vacuum. You're working in isolation. And that's why you're having a problem. The pastor appointed you because you're good at it before he knew that you couldn't get along with anybody. And now the fact that you are good at it does not cover for the fact that you can't get along with the other leaders in the church that makes it necessary for them to be a team. You want to be a star player on a football field by yourself. You're smart, but you're not nice. And the reason that you're not growing is the difference between getting a permit from the city to build a building and going to the planning and zoning committee. The permit from the city is based on the codes in the city that you meet the standard that is necessary for the building. A permit from the city embraces the strength of the infrastructure of the building itself. The planning and zoning committee deals with how does this building fit in the community. You're trying to build a great church, but how does it fit in the community? You know a lot of preachers, but how do you fit in the community? You got a great choir, but nobody can work with you. Nobody can talk to you. Nobody can interact with you. How do you fit in the community of your local church? Great leadership is, yes, it is certainly about building locally, but it is also about thinking globally. I don't care how good you are at what you do. If you can't get along with the other people I have, I can't use you. It's not that I don't like you. I like you. I love you. But I can't use you because you don't know how to work outside of your tent, your tribe. You can only get along with people who think like you. You don't know how to work with other types of people, which has limited our church to being a family, because we can only draw people who are familiar, and we can't be a holy nation because you don't have a global view. I can only get people to stay in the church who have the same DNA, and everybody else, you run them off.